and welcome to the March edition of Pulse of the Parish. I'm Crystal Beecham. March is Women's History Month, and we are honored to highlight some of our amazing leaders here at the Parish of Caddo. It's always a good time to get a reminder on the importance of rabies vaccinations and microchips from Animal Services and Mosquito Control. And finally, another great segment of Get to Know Your Commissioner. Let's check it out. March is Women's History Month, a time to honor the achievements and contributions made by women throughout the history of the United States and right here in Caddo Parish. We are honored to have an amazing group of inspiring, trailblazing women that lead every day here at the Parish of Caddo.
It's important to have women in leadership roles, government positions, and political positions because at the end of the day, it takes all kinds of women, like men. We all have a different voice. We have different belief systems, and we all have the capability to make great decisions.
I think that women have fought hard, have come a long way in just having that background, having that energy when we're trying to coordinate things or do new projects, just having that resiliency and organization skills. Women bring a lot to the table, and I'm very fortunate to work with several dynamic women within Caddo Parish.
I always try to emphasize on the qualities before I mention even gender about it. But however, that is one of the most important pieces to who I am, of being a woman in leadership in this position who happens to care about what happens to the community. And most of the time, that thing that drives you is what you're the best at.
I want to be known as somebody who is here to help all people, and that I'm not just a woman doing a job, but that I'm a person who's helping everyone.
It's been my goal to also promote women and hire women, not because they're a woman, but because they're accomplished, because they're competent. And I like to have competent, accomplished people around me, and so that's why I support women in leadership. I support women in the Caddo Parish organization.
This position is not about myself. It's about inspiring the younger generation so that someone can look and see me doing something as a woman. A little girl is watching and saying, I too can do that one day.
Microchip is very important when it comes to relocating your pet back to its home. You know, if your pet gets lost, a microchip basically is an identifying integrated circuit that is formed under the skin of your animal. It has a number identified to that particular animal. So if an officer finds your pet while they're out in the field, they can actually rehome your animal right there. It's very important to get your animals updated with the rabies vaccination. Rabies is a zoonotic disease. It is very, very prevalent here in northwest Louisiana. We have the skunk variant and we have the bat variant. You know, animals go out, they play with wildlife. So if they actually come in contact, whether it's a scratch or whether it's through saliva, and then, like I said, it's deadly to humans. It's a zoonotic. So it's very important to save the animal and to save the human. And we have a rabies clinic that is actually coming up here at April 26th at Summer Grove Baptist Church, 8924 Jewella Avenue. We're going to be running that rabies clinic from 10 to 2 p.m. And it's probably the first 300 shots. Sometimes we typically go over. And we're having a free rabies clinic as well that same day.
Hi, I'm John Atkins. I am Commissioner for District 9, which is largely South Caddo. And what if I'm thinking about who I am depends largely on what hat I'm wearing at any given time. So if I'm wearing my husband hat, I'm Lindsay's husband. It's an important hat for me to wear. If I'm in the house, I'm also Vesuvius's dad. Vesuvius is a four-legged child, a Doberman Pinscher. that consumes a lot of our life. If I'm in my office, I'm an investment manager. A diversified portfolio, everything from stocks and bonds to commercial real estate to timberland to agriculture to oil and gas. So that's what I do for for profession and for a living. But the older I've gotten, the more I've tried to carve out some time for public service. So it's been my pleasure to serve as a member of the Caddo Parish Commission for the last 9.5 years. I guess this is my 10th year, my third and last term. So it's been a pleasure to be involved in local government, but I also try to support some of our local institutions like Barksdale Air Force Base, Centenary College, Southfield School. So, as I stated at the beginning, who I am largely depends on what hat I'm wearing at any given time. For me, it's all about service. I've had like an unfulfilled service itch, an unscratched service itch for my whole professional career. Earlier in my life, I felt the need to get my professional career in line, and I guess I had my own insecurities prevented me from exploring other avenues. I felt like I needed to stay focused on my profession, and I worked very hard on my profession in my early days. But on those quiet drives, or a quiet afternoon in a fishing boat, or any of that kind of reflective period, I'd always kind of feel this unfulfilled need to serve our community and serve our country, or serve the greater good, whatever that may be. So, maybe when I was in my early 40s, I found an opportunity to get involved with some civic organizations and served in that way, and that was helpful. So kind of the next step was to serve as a commissioner, which is, of course, not a full-time job, but you're certainly engaged, but it's not full-time, so you're able to keep your career in line while serving the community. So, over time, I've given more time to service, and God willing, I'll have some additional time in the future to serve in other ways. Well, District 9 is the best district in the parish. It is certainly the fastest growing. We had to, during the recent redistricting, we actually had to carve down the geographic area of District 9 because we'd kind of outgrown our allocation. So we had to restructure a bit to get us back in the proper numbers, because our district had grown disproportionately larger versus the other commission districts. So that certainly, if demand is as an illustrator, that certainly indicates that it has a lot to offer. But I think we have beautiful neighborhoods in District 9, beautiful restaurants and amenities, and it's just a nice place to live. My favorite thing about Caddo Parish is the abundance of opportunities available to citizens in Caddo Parish, but at a reasonable cost and a reasonable price. I mean, I've lived in a number of places in my life. I've lived in Virginia, I've lived in Oklahoma, I've lived in Lafayette, Louisiana, I've lived in Chicago, and I lived in Texas, and so I had an opportunity to live a lot of places. But at the end of the day, I chose to come back home to Caddo Parish, where you can be involved in anything you want to be involved in. If you're interested in the arts and the creative side, you can dive in deep. You can be in the symphony, you can participate in the symphony or attend the symphony. You can attend theater, and you can do that all at a reasonable price, and you can get deeply engaged in those organizations in a reasonable way. If you want to do that in Dallas, you're going to have to kiss a lot of rings and jump through a lot of hoops, but it's not like that here. And similarly, if you enjoy the outdoors, you can have easy access to fishing lakes and hunting fields and woods, and all within a reasonable drive, all at a manageable cost. So for me, it just, Caddo Parish offered the opportunity to do all the things that I enjoyed doing, including service, serving the community, but all the things that I enjoyed doing in a way that's very accessible and affordable here in our community. Well, I think most people would be surprised to find out that I was president of the Washington Lee rugby team. Played 6 seasons of rugby in college, because I played 3 years and we had a fall season and a spring season. And then several years later, I played 4 seasons in business school, because again, it was a 2-year program. We had fall season and a spring season. But people don't typically view me as a rugby player, and maybe I'm not your typical rugby player, but I enjoyed it a lot. And we had a really good team in business school. We were the NBA champions my second year. So it's great camaraderie, great experience. You get your competitive spirits out and your camaraderie and your teamwork. So something I enjoyed doing.
Don't miss the 3rd annual 318 Day Festival, celebrating our vibrant community with live music, food trucks, nonprofit showcases, and talented visual arts. This event-filled weekend includes the 318 Fashion Show, 318 Food Festival, and the 318 Movies event. You can get all the details at 318weekend.com. Well, that's a wrap on the March edition of Pulse of the Parish. As always, we invite you to check us out every first Friday of the month at noon for a look at all things new and exciting happening here in Caddo Parish. We'll see you next time.